Okay, so when you think about blood, what first comes to mind? Probably like just the red stuff from a cut, right? Pretty simple.
Hmm.
But what if I told you that liquid, it's actually one of the most dynamic, information-packed systems in your whole body?
That's absolutely right. People often call blood the body's vital river of information. And it's a good description, really.
A river of information.
Yeah, because flowing within it are all these signals, these codes, basically stories your body's constantly telling itself. So
Mm.
this deep dive today, it's not just about what's physically in your veins.
Right.
It's about what those subtle biological messages can actually tell you about your health, sometimes way before you'd even notice anything's wrong.
And that's exactly why this is so interesting, isn't it? So our mission here is to sort of demystify this living data stream.
Hmm.
We'll unpack the main components, sure, but maybe more importantly, we want to show how a totally routine blood test,
Yeah,
it's way more than just numbers on a page.
it really is.
Uh,
Think of it like a personalized real-time snapshot.
Snapshot, yeah. Like an early warning system that's plugged right into your own well-being.
Exactly.
So when we talk about this living data stream, what is actually flowing in there? It's definitely not just red liquid, is it?
No, not at all. You've got your red blood cells, of course,
Yeah.
the oxygen carriers everyone knows about.
Right.
But labs don't just count them. They also measure something called mean corpuscular volume, or MCV.
MCV, okay.
And this isn't just about oxygen carrying. A really small shift in that MCV number can quietly signal specific nutrient issues, like maybe low iron or B12.
Huh.
Yeah, long before you'd ever develop full-blown anemia. It's like a little whisper from your
A
metabolism.
whisper from your metabolism, I like that. And then, okay, we have the white blood cells, the immune system soldiers.
Our frontline defense, yep. But it's not just one big army, you know?
Ah, right. Different types tell different stories.
Precisely. The total white blood cell count, that's just the headline figure. The real intel is in what they call the differential.
Differential?
Yeah, understanding the specific types, like neutrophils, lymphocytes, eosinophils. For example, if your neutrophils are up, that often points towards a bacterial infection,
Okay.
but high lymphocytes, that could signal your body's fighting a virus. And, say, if eosinophils are elevated, that might suggest allergies or maybe even like parasitic activity.
Wow.
It's like getting a detailed battle report straight from your immune system.
So it's all about the nuance, the specific kinds of cells. Okay, and then platelets. If you've had a cut stop bleeding, that's them.
Right.
Little clot former.
That's them in action, yes. Essential for clotting. But do they offer other clues?
Yeah, beyond just stopping the bleeding.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, clotting is job one, sure. But abnormal platelet counts. Sometimes they can hint at underlying inflammation or even issues within the bone marrow.
Really?
Yeah, and what's actually pretty fascinating is their emerging role. Researchers are looking into how they might signal cellular stress, maybe even certain autoimmune responses. It's definitely a broader picture than we used to think.
Okay, much more complex than just clotting. Got it. And then the biggest chunk, right? About half your blood is plasma, that yellowish liquid part.
Over half. Yeah, about 55%. And this is where so much of that information highway really operates.
Highway.
Definitely. We test plasma for common things like glucose, cholesterol, hormones. But think about this. Your plasma also carries these things called microRNAs.
MicroRNAs. Tiny genetic bits.
Tiny genetic fragments, exactly. They act like molecular messages whizzing around. And they can quietly signal things like cellular stress, inflammation, maybe even the very, very early stages of a disease long before symptoms show up.
Wow.
It's like your body's own private messaging system, just broadcasting your health status constantly.
That's incredible, these hidden messages. So, okay, how do labs actually pull all this detailed info out from just, one vial of blood?
Well, after the blood draw, often the key step is centrifugation.
Spinning it really fast.
Exactly. Spinning the blood at high speeds separates the heavier stuff, like the cells, from the lighter liquid plasma. And that separation lets labs precisely measure everything. The counts, the shapes of cells, the levels of nutrients, hormones, those inflammatory markers, and yeah, even those subtle genetic signals like microRNAs in the plasma.
Right.
It basically transforms that liquid sample into a really comprehensive diagnostic report.
So, bringing this all together, what does this deep dive really mean for you listening right now? Why should we care about, MCV or neutrophil counts?
Because your blood, well, it connects to pretty much every single system in your body. There's
Yeah.
almost nothing it doesn't touch.
Right.
So understanding these nuanced data points, as you call them, it means you're not just waiting around to react to symptoms anymore.
You're getting ahead of it.
Exactly. Those subtle shifts, we talked about a specific MCV number, a certain white cell differential, maybe even a microRNA signature. These can be super early indicators of stress, nutrient gaps, maybe even predispositions to certain conditions.
Often before you feel anything wrong at all.
Often, yes. And having that knowledge, it empowers you, it lets you be proactive about managing your health rather than just, waiting for a problem to become obvious.
Okay, so the bottom line then. Your blood isn't just some red fluid. It's this incredibly complex, living data source.
Constantly communicating.
Yeah, constantly sending signals, offering early signs of everything from how you're handling stress to maybe nutrient deficiencies or even those first quiet whispers of a disease.
And really understanding that biological conversation, that gives you just unparalleled insight, maybe even control over your own health story. So next time you hear about a blood test, maybe don't just see it as a bunch of numbers on a lab report.
See it differently.
Yeah, try to see it as a personalized report.
Yeah.
A unique, deep dive into the hidden world going on inside your own body. And maybe ask yourself, what new information could you unlock about your health?